Hey everyone, Robert Ferringo of DocSports here with an NFL free play video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the DocSports YouTube channel, and don't forget to take advantage of the free 60 link down in the description. Today we are talking the Minnesota Vikings versus the Cleveland Browns. This game is kicking off at 9:30 a.m. on Sunday, October 5th. 9:30 a.m. Why the early kick time? Well, as you may have guessed, this is another game from the International Series. This game is being played in London. Technically, it's a home game for Cleveland, but this one is taking place in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. Now, Cleveland is technically the home team, but Minnesota is the one that will kind of have the home field advantage. They played in Ireland against Pittsburgh last week, and then they stayed overseas for the week, which should give them somewhat of a situational advantage over the Browns, who had to play at Detroit, where they lost 34-10 last week, and then travel to London and kind of get themselves acclimated to the time change and just the difference of being on a different continent, really. Cleveland really could use all the help that it could get, unfortunately. So being at a disadvantage for them isn't going to work out probably pretty well. Minnesota is a minus 3.5 point favorite. The total here is only 36.5. The favorites in these international series games are actually 37-20 against the spread. So a massive advantage for the teams that are favored. The Browns are a mess on offense. They have what could be one of the best defenses of this decade if they were only getting any help from their offense. The Browns have shut down pretty much everyone that they have played. I know Detroit scored 34 points against them, but it was a tough 34 points. And a lot of those points came later in that game after the dam had kind of broke. I do think that Cleveland's offensive issues are going to continue this week. However, I also think that if they do struggle early against Minnesota, they may finally make a quarterback change. Now, I'm never in favor of rookie quarterback starting. I think rookie quarterback should sit and learn. But Joe Flacco is awful. He is probably the worst starting quarterback in the NFL right now. This is a guy that hasn't been a reliable, consistent NFL starter since like 2017. He's shot. He's been shot for a while. He shouldn't be out there. He isn't providing any of the veteran stability or leadership or anything that the Browns were kind of hoping for out of him. I think Kevin Stefanski is just being stubborn by keeping him in there right now. However, I do think that he's going to struggle against a Minnesota defense that does a lot of really unique things with their blitz packages. They confuse a lot of quarterbacks. Joe Flacco is not mobile. So I am expecting him to have some problems early, and that may lead to them making the change and putting in Dillon Gabriel. Also, this Minnesota Vikings defense, for as good as it has been, you can run on them. And that's the one thing that Cleveland has done kind of fairly reliably well. Quinshon Judkins broke out for over 80 yards and a touchdown last week against Detroit. I think if they give him the ball 20 times again, that Cleveland can have some success on the ground. Now, the Vikings, they lost to Atlanta 22-6 a few weeks ago. They were able to bounce back from that loss and really just hammer Cincinnati 48-10. I'm looking for a similar bounce back effort here. This game is not going to be a blowout, but I do think that Minnesota is going to play better in this one. I like the Vikings, but my free play is actually on the over. This total of 36.5 is the lowest total yet in the NFL, and I can understand why. We have shaky quarterback play, offensive line injuries on both sides, and two very, very good defense. However, when I see a total this low, there's only one way to bet it, and that's to go against the public. So I'm going to take over 36.5. I could see this one being 21-17, 23-16, kind of in that range where maybe we get a defensive touchdown. That was the case in that 48-10 win over Cincinnati. It was actually Minnesota's defense that put up 2 touchdowns in that game. I also think that Cleveland's offense is due for a little bit of a breakout, especially if they can make that quarterback change. So I like Minnesota, but my free play here is on over 36.5 in the Vikings-Browns game. That's it for today. Be sure to check back later for more free play videos. Till next time, carpe diem and good luck.